are. Here we are. And try this out. Just testing. See, it's funny. Every time I come on, it's always like two people join me, like right away. I wonder if it's the same two people. Somebody said this might like be a bot farm. I am not sure. Yeah, I'm just going to test this out for a minute and then we'll get started. So, and we're up to 4. Hello, everybody. Yeah, just give me a second. All right, we're good. We're good. So, welcome. It is November 18th, 2025, and another busy day of news. You know, it's interesting. I've only been doing this for a couple of weeks, and I have no experience in doing this. But listening to other people that have been doing this for a while, sometimes I compare myself to them, and I'm like, wow, their broadcast flow, they're very fluid, whatever you want to call it, and like I think about my broadcast, and I'm like, man, I just need to kind of gain that flow like they do. But I guess that's the thing, is you just need to practice, and you need to kind of just keep doing it. You know, the one thing that I've learned doing this is just the consistency, right? So I need to keep doing it. I need to do it consistently, and I need to kind of stick around the same time frame. Like when I say 5:30, I need to stick with 5:30. And there are times I don't want to do it at 5:30. I'd rather do it at 3, or I'd rather do it at 7. But consistency is the key. I mean, of course, there'll be exceptions like Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot, but you know, those are to be expected. So, all right. So, what's going on today? There's a lot of news going on today. So, I'm just going to go down, no particular order. I'm just curious. Oh, yeah. One more thing. Let's see. What are we going to talk about today? Talking about Epstein. Because everybody wants to talk about Epstein. Texas. CCP. And the other news of today. And other news. Yeah, I'm not even supposed to go on until like 5:30. So sometimes I just jump on a little early just to kind of get started and whatnot. So I'll be in a flow by 5:30. Talking about Epstein, Texas, CCP, and other news. All right. So we had a vote today, the Epstein vote. The Hill, new poll. Majority of voters believe Trump was aware of Epstein's abuse. Well, Trump has said that himself. He said that he was aware of his abuse, so that's why he cut off the relationship. Today, U.S. Congress passes Epstein Files Transparency Act, requiring Justice Department to release Jeffrey Epstein files. The vote was 427-1, with Representative Clay Higgins, Republican, as the sole opponent. Does anybody know why he voted no? Because the Senate, I think, unanimous consent was like 100-0. Yeah, the U.S., that's what it says in the next sentence. The legislation mandates the Department of Justice to release all unclassified records, documents, and investigative materials related to Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking case while allowing redactions for victim privacy, national security, and active investigations. Well, that's everything, man. Oh my gosh. This is just kind of kicking the ball down the road. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who's like, they removed, they scrubbed the files, all that stuff. And this seems like it's just going to go on forever, to be honest. The Democrats will, they'll create their anti-Trump commercials next year before the midterms, and so be it. So let's look at some responses. Donald Trump Jr. Let's see. He's responding to Nick Soder. So, House Oversight Chair James Comer just exposed Hakeem Jeffries on the House floor for soliciting a meeting and donations from Jeffrey Epstein, even after Epstein was a convicted sex predator. So, the plot thickens. Stacey Plaskett was already in trouble. Now this. What's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. I said it was going to be dead in the center. I didn't think it was going to go this way. But, maybe this whole thing is just one big con job by both sides. Who knows? So a convicted sex offender who trafficked kids gets invited to a private dinner with Obama and a meeting with Jeffries 5 years after being released, but it's somehow still all about Trump. Indeed. Lives a TikTok, basically releasing the email about Hakeem Jeffries, aka, what do they call him? Chuck E. Cheese Obama, Dollar Store Obama, Dollar General Obama. I mean, so many names about that guy. Stacey Plaskett is having a meltdown after having a censure resolution brought against her. She looks petrified. Jim Jordan going off. Okay, this is Clay Higgins. What did he write? I have been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, the bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. So, Gunther Eagleman, unbelievable Dems are becoming panicked now that the truth about their connections are being exposed. House Speaker Johnson says releasing Epstein files without redactions could pose a national security risk. Benny Johnson, the Senate has voted to release all the Epstein files. All right. Now people are calling for Hakeem Jeffries' resignation. So my thoughts on this are, it's just going to be an ongoing circus, I think, for the next couple of months into next year's midterms. I mean, it's pretty much been weaponized. I mean, you have the Democrats that are going to go after Trump still. I mean, they could release everything and they'd be like, oh, well, it's been scrubbed or things have been removed. Republicans are going to go after the Democrats that are named, but, are we going to get full transparency? I don't think so. What do you think out there in Xland, Twitterland? Yeah, it's interesting how it shifted from Trump needs to sign it to why does he need to sign it? He should just release it now. I mean, it's Representative, I'll just say McBride, accuses the GOP of running a well-funded effort for anti-transgender policies. Well, if you actually do some research into that, look at J.B. Pritzker and his family, because they have a well-funded effort for pro youth transgender policies. I mean, go down that rabbit hole if you want to. Laura Loomer. Looks like Elon Musk and President Trump kissed and made up. Elon is at the White House tonight for the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Kind of ironic. The reunion happened the same day the House voted to release the Epstein files. Yeah, Elon was kind of the spark for all of this. He said Trump was in the files, and yeah, he's back at the White House. Back to Epstein. We're not getting the Epstein disclosure. What senator added this language in there? And now Pam Bondi gets to choose what people see and don't see based on a generalized term called national security and ongoing investigations. I think that was always the case, though. Sports news, Cristiano Ronaldo is at the White House as well. Yeah, last night there was Illinois Congressman Chuy Garcia, who I guess he's stepping down, and at the last minute, I think he waited to the. I want to find out what happened. So let's see. I get on my facts right. Okay, the main current controversy surrounding U.S. Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia revolves around the timing of his November 2025 announcement that he would not seek re-election in 2026. Critics accused him of deliberately engineering the process to handpick his successor, his chief of staff, Patty Garcia, no relation, by announcing his retirement just after Illinois candidate filing deadline on November 3rd, 2025. Patty Garcia is the only Democrat on the primary ballot for his safe blue Chicago area. Yeah, that seems kind of underhanded. So I guess he initially filed paperwork to run for re-election. On the final filing day, his team collected signatures for Patty Garcia. He announced his retirement after the deadline, effectively clearing the field. He defended the move as legal under Illinois election rules and driven by personal reasons. He acknowledged the criticism as fair, but said the decision came quickly after family discussions. Congressional response on November 18th. The U.S. House passed a rare resolution of disapproval, a formal rebuke, but not censure. It was introduced by fellow Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, who called it election subversion and undemocratic. It passed with bipartisan support, mostly Republicans and 23 Democrats. Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries and groups like the Congressional Hispanic Caucus defended Garcia, praising his decades-long progressive record on immigrant rights and work. So it's okay when we do it, right? Oh, man. And I guess Marie Perez from Washington, I guess she got a lot of flack for it. They turned on her. That's the thing with the Democrats is you got to toe the line. Well, the Republicans, some parts of the Republican Party are that way now. You have to toe the line or they'll kick you out. They'll go after you. Sad but true. Sad but true. In other news, Texas, a federal court shut down their redistricting efforts. So it's going to be appealed to the Supreme Court, but who knows? I mean, that was the first play in this game. Now it's thrown everything in chaos. But I did the map. I kept doing the numbers of even including Texas. And let's see. Yeah, zero hedge. Texas it was shot down, but it can be appealed. So basically, what this means is if it's not appealed, the Democrats could possibly wind up a couple seats ahead in this redistricting map. But even like I said, even with Texas, even with if everything falls into play with like Virginia and Florida and then Indiana, if everything breaks the Republicans' way, it's so close that I think it's going to be really, really hard for the Republicans to keep the House. Because I mean, all you have to do is think about 2022 with Biden. You know, Republicans only gained 9 seats, so you figure historically, when you have a mid-year election, the opposite party does gain seats. So even with the redistricting, you know, I think the Democrats right now, if Texas holds, I mean, if the Supreme Court basically says, okay, you need to use the 2021 maps, and it eliminates those 4 seats, and then say Virginia goes into play, and then all the other dominoes fall. At this point, instead of the Democrats maybe having a 2 or 3 vote advantage, they'll have 7. But it really doesn't matter if they have 1, 6, 7. I still think they would have won the Senate, and I think stays with Republicans. It's going to be a replay of Trump's first term. 2028 is the big one, though, because I think the Supreme Court next year is going to, I think they are going to strike down the Voting Rights Act. And when that happens, the Republicans are going to get a flood of seats. And like I said, it's the economy, right? If the economy in 2028 is doing pretty well, then, you know, whoever's on the Republican ticket, I think the Republicans probably would win the trifecta again. Maybe not by much, but, you know, I think for me, the biggest worry is the Democrats getting a trifecta. So if the Republicans lose the House next year, you're going to have more theatrics like impeachments and all that crap, but it's not the end of the world. The end of the world would be 2028 if the Democrats held all 3, got the trifecta, because I've said when that happens, it's over. You know, they're going to pass so much legislation that solidifies their power. That's the big fear. I mean, if they win the House, they can only do so much, just like the Republicans could only do so much in 2022. So I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. What do you think? Yeah, I guess Trump, this was interesting. So President Donald Trump pointed at Bloomberg reporter Jennifer Jacobs and barked "Quiet, Piggy" during a press gaggle on Air Force One when she asked about mentions of him in Jeffrey Epstein's emails. This incident occurred as Trump headed to meet Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Donald Trump snaps a female reporter who asks about Epstein files. "Quiet, Piggy." I mean, Trump is Trump. Always will be Trump. Remember in 2020 when COVID was at its height, he canceled a press conference because I don't know, it was like an Asian reporter was asking a question about COVID, and he responds, "Why don't you ask China?" She was Chinese. And she's like, "Was that directed to me because I was from China?" And then like all the other reporters started to back her up, and he's like, "All right, we're done here." And he walked off. Trump definitely has a way with people. This is Jennifer Jacobs, the reporter. Trump barked, "Quiet, quiet, Piggy." Stop normalizing a president abusing reporters. Remember when, come on. You remember when Biden would go off on that Fox reporter and call him an idiot, and just comes with the territory. I'm actually sick of the Epstein files, man. It's just, yes, like I said, I'd like to see them release people who did something wrong, bring them to justice. Don't cover it up, but I just think the circus, I'm tired of the fucking circus, you know? So, at this dinner tonight, let's see, who was there? Melania, Cristiano Ronaldo, JD Vance, Apple CEO Tim Cook, and others at the White House. Do you think, just a question, do you think we're being played by both sides and it's, you know, doesn't matter who's in power? The big corporations and the leaders are going to do as they will. Damn the little guy. I don't know. When I see events like this, it makes me think. People are struggling to make their mortgage payments and car payments, and, you know, I don't know. Democrats released a video encouraging members of the military to commit treason and defy orders from Trump and Hegseth. At what point does it become treason? If Republicans did this, they would have been hauled off and prosecuted. Just the way it is. Does seem like we have to say, like the Clintons were supposed to go to Congress and testify about something, and they didn't show up. So what's going to happen to them? Are they going to go to jail for not showing up? Don't think so. Let's see what's going on with trending. Anything in the news? Dancing with the Stars. That show's still on. I could care less. All right. Sports. Crazy. Anytime you look at trending, it's always sports. And it makes me think people don't give a shit about politics. Bread and circuses. If you give the masses bread and circuses, they'll remain distracted and they'll never revolt. Dearborn. What's going on in Dearborn? Dearborn residents challenge mosque calls to prayer over noise ordinance. In Dearborn, Michigan, residents have raised complaints about the volume and early morning timing of the Islamic call to prayer broadcast from local mosques. Nick Soder, large groups of Christians have taken to the streets of Dearborn, Michigan, which is now under majority Muslim control. Chants of whose streets our streets can be heard as they march. We cannot surrender a single city to Islam. That's his point of view. Wall Street apes. Okay, this is a national emergency. Muslims surround America. Well, yeah, this is kind of slanted. So jihad in Dearborn, Michigan. Andy Ngo, violent Muslim protesters attack Jake Lang as he hits a Quran with bacon. You're just asking for trouble when you do that dumb shit. You may not like it, but you're really going to go in front of Muslim protesters, grab a Quran and hit it with bacon? Come on. I'm not saying what they're doing is right or I support them, but when you're provoking people, what do you expect? I don't want Sharia law, though. So that's going on in Dearborn. Saudi Arabia. It seems like other than those main two stories, it's kind of been a slow day. But their main, Texas redistricting and Epstein. Gosh, you just can't believe. I'm still wondering, like, what are they trying to distract us from? Is there a distraction? Is Epstein just a distraction to keep our eyes off something? Let's see. I'm curious. Let's see, is there any proof that Epstein is a distraction on November 18th? Possible theories. Is there any proof that Epstein is a distraction on November 18th? Possible. I'm curious what might be out there. No, there is no proof that a renewed focus on Jeffrey Epstein was engineered as a deliberate distraction in the classic conspiracy sense, manufactured event to divert attention from something else. However, the timing and political framing have fueled widespread speculation and accusations from multiple angles, with people explicitly calling it a distraction tactic. It doesn't really say anything. Distraction from global U.S. issues, time to pull eyes away from UN-backed Gaza stabilization force, ongoing wars, economic pressure, or domestic stories, broader elite pedophilia networks tied to the Vatican, Hollywood. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like there's anything substantial with that. Let's see, trending news. Let's see. Oh, Trump administration announces dismantling of U.S. Department of Education. The Trump administration announced on Tuesday plans to transfer key function, including civil rights enforcement, special education, and K-12 grants from the United States Department of Education to other federal agencies via interagency agreements, reducing it to a minimal operation. It's too big. Education is, it's too big. Good. Piers Morgan blasts Marjorie Taylor Greene over last-minute interview cancellation amid Trump rift. Piers Morgan publicly criticized Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene for abruptly canceling a scheduled interview on November 7th after her team confirmed the timing and requested a late slot in his London studio without providing an explanation. I'm sure if The View called, she would have been back on that show in a heartbeat. I've said how I felt about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'd rather have Maria Perez from Washington than Marjorie Taylor Greene, to be honest. Two women, different parties. One is sabotaging her own party, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and another one calling out their party for doing something that's against democracy, Maria Gluesenkamp Perez out of Washington. Crazy world, isn't it? Texas Governor Greg Abbott designates Muslim Brotherhood and CAIR, I think it's CAIR, C-A-I-R, Council on American Islamic Relations, as foreign terrorists and transnational criminal organizations under state law. The action bars these groups and their affiliates from purchasing acquired land in Texas and authorizes the state attorney general to pursue legal measure against their operations, which is Ken Paxton, and he will do it. Interesting. The 37 joining me at the moment. Welcome. Just kind of casually just talking about the news, just going through, seeing what's up. Just going down the list here. So, Mossad, what's going on with Mossad? Some chick with one leg. I don't think that's the story. Yeah. Okay, Mossad. Seems like we're kind of going in circles a little bit. Deutsche Bank. What's this? Deutsche Bank. Oh, James Comer. I have just issued subpoenas to JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank for Jeffrey Epstein's financial records. I'm also requesting U.S. Virgin Islands AG Gordon Ray to provide documents to further GOP oversight review of federal government's investigation of Epstein. I wonder what that will do. New Hampshire. What's going on in New Hampshire? Oh, it's pretty. Yeah, it is that change of seasons. Yeah, let's go back to see if anything new has popped up. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia just referenced the Poly Market about him wearing a suit and tie. Simulation confirmed. Foreigners are waving Mexican flags at a chaotic anti-ICE protest in Charlotte, North Carolina. All right, who's paying for the protest? They're furious that federal agents have arrested over 200 criminal aliens and gang members. I should do a clean sweep of this entire crowd. And there's an inflatable balloon person. See, Eric Cartman. So I guess every protest is going to have a blow-up person now. Pam Bondi, we strongly disagree with today's district court ruling on Texas redistricting map. Texas map was drawn the right way for the right reason. We look forward to Texas victory at the Supreme Court. They indeed get an appeal, but it's a question of timing at this point. Like I said, 2026, not really worried about at this moment. I think when it comes to 2028, that's when a lot of these court cases will be resolved. Just my opinion. You know, what they did in Utah was, man, that last minute map approval without the appeal, that was messed up. Yeah, it seems like we're going in circles now. All right, so let's go down my feed, and we're going to go about 45 minutes tonight. Let's see, there's a few things that I wanted to talk about. All right, just on my feed, things that I've noticed throughout the last 24 hours. The Washington Post 8 hours ago, no, you cannot get flu from the flu vaccine. The temporary side effects that you might feel after getting the vaccine are your immune system reacting to the inactive proteins from the surface of the virus. Well, you know, mainstream media does not have a great track record with backing up vaccines over the last 4 years, so take that with a grain of salt. I don't get the flu vaccine. I've never gotten the flu vaccine, and I rarely get the flu, maybe once every 4 years. More medical information. 11 years ago, CNN blurted out the truth about Tylenol. Too much acetaminophen over time can fry your liver. It can damage your liver to the point where you need a transplant, or even to the point where it kills you. I do not take Tylenol anymore because I had an elevated liver. I had 2 elevated liver counts, not super high, but freaked me out. So, got a fever. Habit may tell you to reach for a Tylenol. This is where things get uncomfortable. because suppressing a fever carries risks no doctor ever told you about, and the consequences go far beyond the liver. And then there's some information on that. Oh, yeah. It was crazy when Trump said that about Tylenol, and then all these stupid pregnant women went out and took a bunch, and some of them got really, really sick. Yeah, so maybe I don't think taking a Tylenol once in a while is bad. If you take like one or two a month, I think it's the people that take it every day, like aspirin. You're not supposed to do that. All right, so I'm going to end with this story. This will be, I think I was still talking to my wife a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm worrying that I rant too much on this show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just maybe save my rant for the end. So I'm just going to talk about a subject that I've noticed over the last couple of years. I've noticed people doing this, and I don't appreciate it. So there's this account called Kitty Bit Games and Cosplay. So it's animal welfare, fitness, natural, and they're in a cosplay. And they posted a picture of themselves after a workout, and she's ripped. I mean, she's not like professional female bodybuilder ripped where she's looking like a man, the veins popping out. I mean, there is some veins here. I don't know specifically what this person has taken in terms of supplements, but they're in pretty good shape. And the issue is a lot of men see pictures of, I've noticed this with CrossFit women. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up CrossFit women. Now, women that do CrossFit, especially competitive, have very thick frames. So I'm looking at this CrossFit Games. We're all living in Toomey's time. So Tia Toomey, 3-time fittest woman on earth. So just looking at her physique, she's in good shape. Do I think she's taking like PEDs? No, I don't. But somebody would look at her and say, she looks masculine. That's disgusting. Now, these are people that just are in shape and competing. These aren't people that are trying to look like men. And I guess that's my problem, right? Is going back to Kitty Bit Games and cosplay. This person is just trying to stay in shape and they're working out. And if you don't like that, if that's not your preference for a woman, then move on. Curious what the comments are on here. You can do what you want, just don't demand that we like it if we prefer feminine women. Fair enough. That's my whole point, right? That's not your preference. So be it. Her response was, we aren't demanding anything aside from respect and equality. Men care more about what men find attractive than women do. I mean, it's kind of a pointless argument. People have different tastes, you know. The only men who can't stand strong women are the insecure ones. Dude here, I think you're drop dead gorgeous. Plus, your content actively motivates people like me, a man, to get fit and healthy. Well, I'm just going to tell you this right now. A lot of the guys that check out these accounts, they're doing it. Well, most of them, 98% of them, are not looking at women's accounts to stay healthy. They're looking at women's accounts because they want to have a little fun time. Just kind of, I'm just guessing. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be posting half naked pictures on the internet for men to see. She's wearing workout gear. I don't think she's interesting. Fit Women Flash, Yellow Flash. I listen to his channel. Fit Women over Fat Women. Good. Yeah. All right. Part of being attractive to other people is being attractive to yourself. If you're happy, that comes true. True. Women being awful. Yuck. Well, your name says it all. I know this is a dude. I just can't. Yeah. It's always like that's I've seen that in like every profile of a fitness woman who's got a decent amount of muscles. Like that's a man. No, that's not true. Let's see if there's any other fitness related content on here. Gina Carano. I mean, she was pretty big. I mean, big in the sense of she was very muscular and fit, and she had a bigger, healthy frame. That's what I'm trying to say. And she looked healthy. Yeah, just looking at the muscle definition, it doesn't look like she's doing steroids. I don't see like any bulging veins or anything like that. Um,
Or record your workouts to make sure.
yeah, who knows? All right, to each their own. But I've just noticed that, all right, Herman, you know, men don't find your body attractive, right? I got 2.8. Oh, that's for a different. Okay. Now it's getting really weird. So there's an account to say that's crazy anyway. Look at my pump. And this woman is definitely like lifting, and she's not big. She's got a very feminine physique. And Herman writes, you know, men don't find your body attractive, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't get it. But I have noticed a lot of comments about women who have been in bodybuilding or fitness, and then, you know, a bunch of people just go off on it and say it's disgusting and women should look like petite and feminine. And, you know, if that's your thing, then find a woman who looks like that. If you want, dude, stop injecting the steroids into your brain. I'm more concerned about your kidneys. Well, if you're abusing creatine, that might be a concern, but I'm afraid that's a man, and so on. The human condition. Yeah, we're interesting people, aren't we? I'm going to do one last check real quick, see if there's any news that have been updated. Anything popping up at this point? Yeah, seems like it's the same old shit. All right, well, I'm going to call it. That was the news today. We'll see what's going on tomorrow. Same time tomorrow. Thank you. I'm trying to develop as a host. I'm trying to stick to the point, not just ramble off. I'm trying to stick with the news for the day, and then the last 10 minutes just focusing on something, an issue that I've seen that maybe is outside the news. But I'm going to stick with that format, and I'm going to just try to work on that 45-minute concise news, and then maybe like a opinion last 10 minutes tomorrow through Saturday. And then Sunday is the fun day where we'll just go as long as we want. Still waiting for my first guest, but I'll try to hit some people and see if they want to jump on. But for the 38 of you that have watched or are still watching or if it's only a few of you, thank you for checking in, and I will see you tomorrow.